It's time for the Movin The Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
Welcome in to Movin The Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. Jerel Hendricks back on the board as always, guys. We are here for our Week 10 South Carolina High School Football Preview Show. John, a huge week, man. Always is this time of year. You get a lot of region titles on the line, a lot of playoff seeding, playoff implications where it's basically you win, you're in, you lose, you're going home, man. Just huge matchups across the state, all classes, and we get a bit of an added extra value of Halloween on Friday, so we get some games on Thursday this week as well.
Yeah, a lot of games on Thursday, a lot of big games on Thursday too, and it's almost a de facto first round of the playoffs because this is any race fans out there. This is like qualifying. This is your last lap of qualifying. This is where you get your place for the big race, for the big tournament, for the playoffs. So exciting, a lot on the line here, and a lot of really good matchups between some really good teams. I know we give the high school league some heartache, but this Week 10 slate is as good as any week of the season, and it should be.
No doubt about it. And I'll go and preface it. This might be a longer show because there are so many games we have to talk about. I sent John a list the other day. I was like, hey, John, here's about 10 games that could be games of the week. Like, what do we do here? So it may run a little bit long. We'll try to keep it within a normal number for you guys. But appreciate you tuning in. Always follow us on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. Website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We do a weekly preview show live Tuesday nights on Facebook and YouTube. Hope you guys will continue to join us for that throughout the playoffs. I have a lot of great things coming up for you the next few weeks. We have our coach interviews, player interviews, all kinds of stuff throughout the week as well, talking about the sport across the state here, along with teams of the week, players of the week, etc. As always, get your Movin The Chains merch. Some great hats right now. Richardson hats. We got a gray front one here with the gray back or black back. Also a black front one up there. Get whatever you want. We got great T-shirts right now, a black T-shirt, a gray T-shirt, a navy blue T-shirt, and a pink T-shirt. You can email info@movinchains.com to order one today. We've got some toboggans, a black and a gray for that colder weather. Also, some Movin The Chains stickers. Looks great on your laptop, your cup, your car, whatever you want to do. Hopefully, you will order one of those to support the boys. And then obviously our hoodies as well, a gray hoodie and a lighter white hoodie that we have in store today. All that's posted on our social media pages. You can email us info@movinchains.com or send us a message on social media to order yours today. Jerel, John, any thoughts from you guys before we get into our Kona games of the week? Like we said already, a huge week of games. So any final thoughts from YouTube as we get ready to get rolling here? Armani said season went by fast. It certainly did, Armani, but luckily we still have about 6 weeks left with the playoffs, so we still got a lot of football still to talk to. But yeah, regular season certainly flew by. Brandon says, what's up, guys? Some good games this week. No doubt about it, Brandon. A ton of good ones across the state. Looks like to use tiebreaker region 3 with Fairfield Central, Chester, Mid-Carolina, all being 3-1. And I believe it will go Chester, Fairfield Central, and Mid-Carolina if all holds serve this week and they all win. Courtney says, hey, my guys, have a good Tuesday. Thank you, Courtney, for tuning in, man. Appreciate you as always. Excited to talk about those Bears here in a little bit. Wolfman says, Valley hate week down in the CSRA. North Augusta Valley got a chance to maybe another classic in the Valley. It certainly was 2 years ago. Looking forward to another good ball game between those two groups. JD says, good evening from A-Town. Go Panthers. Beat the Hornets. Another huge 1A matchup. Abbeville and Ware Shoals squaring off over at Ware Shoals on Friday night. Ricky says, Irmo on a revenge tour, taking Irmo over Dutch Fork. That's a massive game, John. One we'll have here in a minute, but that's a big-time rivalry. What's up, guys? Hampton County in the house says, Terrence. Appreciate you, Terrence. Hampton County is on a roll. One of the favorites in the 2A playoffs for sure. Chris said he's okay. He's here to eat his crow. Tough one for the Indians last week. Couldn't get the offense rolling against Dorman. What's up, guys? Says Travis. Appreciate you, Travis, for joining us as always. Kelly says, Big Bamberg. Hey, they are rolling, man. Playing great football as they have all season long. Randy says, hey, fellas, looking forward to the show. Thank you, Randy, for joining us. Appreciate you tuning in. Zach says, good evening, Devils will have another region championship with a bye week. Couldn't have come at a better time, getting everyone healthy. Certainly nice to have that week 10 off as you roll into a deep playoff run there for Clinton.
Let's jump into it, guys. Let's start talking about these Kona games of the week.
Our Kona games of the week, we've got 5 of the biggest games across the state. John, let's start down in the 1A ranks. A game that maybe, 5-6 weeks ago, people were kind of writing off, weren't seeing a lot of excitement about it. But now all of a sudden, things are turned around. We've got Lewisville, the Lions at 6-3, 4-0 region play, traveling to take on the 7-2, 4-0 Lamar Silver Foxes. Region title on the line, John. Both teams playing great football. Last week, Lewisville, 69-0 over Great Falls. They're averaging 37 points per game on offense, just 21 allowed on defense. Lamar, 53-8 over C.A. Johnson, averaging 43 on offense, 16 allowed on defense, John. Last year, Lewisville, a big winner in this game, 37-7. What do you see this year between the Lions and Silver Foxes over at Lamar on Friday night?
Yeah, I certainly think we see a tighter game than we did last year. I think the Lamar defense, they were good early in the season, but lately they have been really good. In region play, they have been awesome. They've got 1, 2, 3 shutouts on the season. That defense for the Silver Foxes is really locked down, and they're going to need to do it on Friday against this Lewisville team. A lot of weapons on this offense. They've got some good size and some good speed, do the Lions. They've been playing good football all year. You look at that 3 losses, but, they've lost some heavy hitters. Lost Central Pageland, Fayetteville Central in a tight game, and then an Andrew Jackson squad that has exploded onto the scene here lately. Really good-looking game right here. I like Lewisville to win. I think they've just got more talent on their sideline in this game. Lamar, great team. They're going to be fun to watch in the playoffs, and it's good to see Lamar at a good level again.
Yeah, those guys always have some talent in there, it feels like. Both these groups do, really. Lewisville last week, quarterback Jalen Culp, 9 for 9, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jay House having a huge season for them, had back-to-back 5-touchdown games a couple weeks ago. Receiver DB Jordan Strong is a big-time playmaker. Defensively, they're led by Strong, Tymon Hughes, Jay-Sean Culp, who had 12 tackles, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks last week. Like you mentioned, John, they played a really tough non-region schedule, have been on an absolute roll here in region play. On the Lamar side, quarterback Zori Pierce is an electric playmaker, one of the best quarterbacks you'll see in the state, regardless of classification. Nigel Eady at the running back spot last week went 13 for 129, 2 touchdowns. Receivers DQ Green and Juju Morris are weapons out wide for them. They're a little bit thin up front. That's where they've kind of had some depth issues this year. It's kind of that O-line, D-line there, it feels like. Defensively led by Green. He had a pick 6 last week. Mont Williams at the defensive end spot, and then Travis Durant at the D tackle spot. 2 really good football teams, man. I was talking to some folks on both sides this week, and they're like, both sides think the other team is really fast, really physical, like they're really excited for this matchup. And I think, to me, it feels like Lewisville's maybe a little bit deeper. And I think that's kind of what it comes down to. I think at the top level, both teams have the playmakers. You mentioned a guy like Pierce and Edie on Lamar's side. On the Lewisville side, Strong and Howes, man. Both teams have studs that can make big-time plays, but I think Lewisville may have a little bit deeper roster, a little bit deeper, O-line, D-line especially. I think the Lions win this game on the road. I don't know if it's 37-7 like last year, but I think this Lewisville team, John and Jerel as well, that we talked about a couple weeks back, had kind of been written off a little bit. They had those couple tough losses, weren't playing their best football, had some shakeups on the team, it felt like, but they have turned it on, man. And I think they're a team that's going to be, we look in 1A upper state where it's been Abbeville, of course. After that, it's like, where Shoals had a good season, but nobody's really, taken over and made a big leap. I think that Lewisville team is a team we got to keep an eye on here in Upper State 1A. I think they start that run to a deep playoff run, I think, this week.
Yeah, they're going to be a very tough out for anybody.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this Lewisville Lamar matchup?
Yeah, really excited about this one. And it's two teams we haven't had the opportunity to talk about much. I mean, these are two teams that play up in non-region, so they have some tough games early. Then when they get into region play, they typically, handle their business once they go up against the programs that are similar in their classification. But yeah, I like Lamar. I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna spread it out a little bit. I like them playing at home. Zori Pierce being a senior. I mean, we've talked about him for 4 years, it feels like now, and just been an absolute great player. But of course, I like this Lewisville bunch. I like both these coaches too. I want to give a shout out to Coach Boyd. Talked to him in the offseason this year. We talked to Coach Usher a couple of years ago. It's two young coaches, both sons of coaches. So I think it's a really cool storyline there as well. But I'm going to go Lamar in a tight one. I think that defense is going to carry them that John mentioned.
Should be a fantastic ball game. Any comments from the chat on that one? Courtney says he's taking Lamar 24-17. Lamar 28-24 says Wolfman. Brandon says he likes Lamar in a close one. Lamar always been pretty good, especially under Coach Boyd and Coach Fountain. Now they got the new Coach Boyd there, Brandon, taking that next step. Chris says, great to see you again, Kevin, last Friday. If he could only meet John and Jerel, he'd be happy. Great to see you, Chris. Appreciate you, man, as always, saying hello. Jonathan says has to stick with the Darlington County teams, going with Lamar in that one. A lot of Lamar picks on the show here, sounds like, boys. Good seeing you, Kevin. Happy Halloween to you as well, buddy.
How about
the Raiders from Dorchester? Going to get it done again over Williamsburg. Should be a really good game. Raiders 28-20. Huge win for Coach Nelson's bunch, man. They did a great job against that Colorado Crowd squad last week. Dorchester, another big one against Williamsburg on Friday, like you mentioned there, Jamie.
I think we're going to clean sweep with Lamar in the comments.
Zach's taking Lamar as well, yeah. So it's just, I guess, me and John on Lewisville, everybody else on Lamar.
That's it. I got on. That's all we got. Oh, got one more.
G. Bryant says Lamar as well. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Popular pick. You guys are going unconventional, I guess.
I know we got some friends at Lewisville like to watch the show. So just remember who picked Lewisville. It's all the chat that's going Lamar. So just, if you want to use that for fuel, feel free.
I'm riding with the chat this week. Let's go to the next game, guys.
Our second Kona game of the week, John. One of those games that's on a Thursday this week, and that's Camden traveling to AC Flora. This is for second place in that region. The Bulldogs 7-2 overall, 4-1 in region play. AC Flora, the Falcons 8-1, 4-1 on the season. Camden, a nice win over Lancaster, 43-21 last week, averaging 36 on offense, 21 allowed on defense each game. Quarterback Grayson Remp, 13 for 19, 216, 3 touchdowns. Navi Boykin, 8 for 91 and 2 more touchdowns. Receiver Tylen Drakeford, 6 for 66. Bernard Green, 2 for 56 and 2 touchdowns. Defensively, linebacker LeVay Penny, 11 tackles per game. Linebacker Jaden Manning, defensive end Thomas Bishop, and defensive lineman Dontrell Wilson lead that group. Flora, they had a bye last week. 2 weeks ago, they handled Dreher pretty easily, 48-0 in week 8. Averaging 40 points per game on offense, just 10 allowed per game on defense. Quarterback Roper Winsky, one of the best in the state, 22 for 25 in that game, 192, 3 touchdowns. Running back Jalen Simmons, 11 for 1, 42 more touchdowns. Lots of weapons outside. You got Josh Davis, had 6 for 67, 3 touchdowns. Blake Batet, 5 for 41, and Charlie Scott. On the season, John, Davis, 7 touchdowns. Batet, 6 touchdowns. Scott, 6 touchdowns. So Winsky does a great job spreading the ball around to those weapons he's got outside. Defensively led by DB Azel Banag, had 9 tackles in that game. He's got 5 picks on the season and 3 fumble recoveries. He's a turnover machine for that Falcons defense. Peyton Bishop had 8 tackles at TFL. Brandon Williams, 7 tackles, 3 TFLs. And sophomore DE Nazir Walker, 10 sacks on the season, can be a difference maker for that Coach Floyd defensive group there, John. Should be a fantastic ball game here at the Falcons and the Bulldogs. Who do you like in this game?
I tell you, this is a really fun game. And I look at this game and probably some of it's growing up in Kershaw County and knowing the pedigree of Camden and knowing how good they are just as a program year after year and seeing the success that they've had with Coach Remp and out his son at quarterback. They're a solid team. They're a solid program week in, week out, every year. AC Flora a little bit newer on the scene. We saw them a few years ago, really play some good football. Saw a great game against Greenville in the playoffs a few years ago. The Falcons have established themselves last few years. They're a football school too.
Yeah.
They're very good in spring sports, but they're very good at football now too. And you just talked about, you said exactly what I was going to say with this offense, with Winsky, and the fact that it's not just one good target that he's got, that he's going to every game. They're spreading the ball all over the field, to complete 22 passes and to have 3 guys accounting for 20 touchdowns. That's incredible. I really like this AC Flora offense, and they're at home. I think the best unit on the field is the AC Flora offense. And that's why I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one. It's weird for me to pick AC Flora over Camden, but I think they win this game on Thursday night. Should be a great game.
It'll be really intriguing. I cannot wait to see, the key for Camden is going to be, can they slow down that passing attack? When you've got 3 guys like Batet and Davis and Scott, what do you got on the back end? Last year, JoJo Krim was a stud for them. JoJo Krim is gone now. They got some new guys filling in there for Camden on the back end. You got Edwards, Holman, Williams, and Drake for stepping in some as well. They're going to have their hands full against this really talented passing attack. This is a team that I feel like is just kind of falling under the radar, which is hard to say when you're 8-1. But I feel like, they haven't had a big game since early on. I guess, they had the South Point game, which is big. But outside of that, there hasn't been a lot that's really been said about them on our program, it feels like. But they're a good football team. I think the key for Camden, if they want to get this win here, Tylen Drake has to have a big game on offense. And that may not be just catching the ball. It could be running the football as well. Give him some carries and some jet sweep stuff or whatever. But he's going to have to account for probably 2-3 touchdowns, probably a $150, 200 total yards. I'm thinking if they want to win it. And he can do it. He is that good of a playmaker, man. I love watching that kid play. He has been a stud for several years there for that Camden program. But like you said, I think just AC Flora at home, a few too many weapons out wide. I think they get this win. I'm thinking a close ball game here. And like you said, John, it's hard to just get over the fact that you're picking an AC Flora team over a Camden team because it doesn't feel right. I guess just from pedigree over the last couple of years. But I think this AC Flora group is different this year, man. They played some good football. I like the Falcons to win this one, but should be a fantastic ball game. Jerel, who do you like here? What do you think? Are you with us? Are you with Camden? What are you thinking here?
Hey, round with y'all this time. I'm going Flora as well. I think that offense just being so versatile and just being able to, like you mentioned, the distribution of the touchdowns and being able to, this is a team, 3 years ago played for, was it upper state championship or lower state championship, against South Florence.
Yes.
But that was heavy run game. They're behind Markel Townsend, and then here they're throwing the ball over the field. So you just got to appreciate what Ken Floyd's been able to do as the OC for Coach Curtis, and then stepping in now, running his own program, just being able to do whatever he wants with his personnel and be successful at any style of football. Again, Camden, as John alluded to, this is one of the more premier programs in the state, so it's difficult to pick against them. But I'm going to go with the Falcons. Camden fans, I suck at picking them, so don't feel bad with me siding that way. It typically goes the other way when I pick either for or against Camden.
And what's crazy, too, is like you mentioned Coach Floyd, I always heard that he was a run-first, run-heavy guy. But this year, he's had to mold his offense to his weapons. He's done a great job. Batet coming over from Richland Northeast has been a big pickup for them. He's done a great job. Obviously, they had the weapons already. You hadn't even mentioned Bird, who I think has been out for a little bit. I don't know what his status is. He may be back for the playoffs. I don't really know. But they've got some really talented guys there for Winsky to find them. And I think if you're Camden, the key for them is going to be, can they get pressure up front? Like, can you kind of disrupt that passing offense? Maybe the first couple drives, you bring a little extra pressure. You hope you get home. Even if you don't get a fumble, maybe you just get a sack, put them behind the chain. So maybe you bring a few guys, kind of throw them off his rhythm early on. But I think AC Flora at home, I think they win this game, but should be a great ball game on Friday. What's the chat saying? Jessica says, my boys, Camden, go Dogs. Cannot wait for this one, Jessica. Should be a great ball game on Thursday. G. Bryant says, Flora 28-21. Their wideouts are tough. They really are. Really deep out there. Courtney's is taking Camden 24-17. Jonathan's got Camden 35-21.
I could see some points.
Flora football school, not this year. Came with the win on the road. Big, says Zach.
It's a little bit split this time. I like these, this shows how good these teams are. And again, it's always tough to pick against a team that's consistently been there. But you look at this Flora program over the last, few years, they've been consistently at the top as well.
They've been around.
Oh, for sure.
And I haven't looked. I I don't know the updated RPI here and how that might shake out, but this is a chance. This is for a home playoff game. If you lose this and go to third in your region, you might be traveling next week, which you don't want to do. So certainly a lot on the line here in this one. So can't wait to see how it shakes out on Thursday. Our third Kona game of the week, one of the big 5A matchups. We've got Indianland, the undefeated group for Coach Adam Hastings at 9-0, 5-0 in the region, traveling to take on Northwestern, who is 8-1, 5-0 in the region. This game is over at District 3 Stadium. John, last year, Northwestern got them twice, 45-0 in the regular season, 49-6 in the playoffs on their way to a state title. This is a game that I've been kind of eyeing for a few weeks. I think you have as well, John. Looking forward to it. What do you like in this big 5A matchup?
Well, I tell you what, this game deserves to be a game of the week, given what Northwestern and Indiana have both done this year to this point. I mean, I'm picking Northwestern. I think most people are going to pick the Trojans. But for people that have not tuned into this Indiana team, this is going to be more of a ball game than what I think a lot of people expect. And mainly because of that Indiana defense. This is a big group. Michael Foster, I was looking at some of the stats and I was like, yeah, is Michael Foster the leader of the defense? He's got 9 sacks. Well, maybe it's Noah Terry. He's got 7 interceptions. They're a really good group on defense, and they're pretty big up front on offense as well. Got a young quarterback. He plays very well. Big, tough kid. This is a really good group, a physical group, but Northwestern's a different animal. I think Indiana's very good defensively, and they've got really good size. Northwestern's got the talent. They've got the speed. They've got the weapons. They've got the staff that knows how to prepare his team for big moments, big games. The kids, they have experienced these types of games numerous times. This is nothing new for them. I think we see a competitive game, maybe a 10, 14-point ball game, and I think it's going to be relatively low scoring. But yeah, I still think Northwestern comes away winning this game. But I think Indiana is going to raise some eyebrows with how this game goes.
The Warriors had a fight last week on their hands, John. They defeated Fort Mill 20-16. Fort Mill actually had the ball late with a chance to go and win the game. Couldn't make it happen there. So Indiana stayed undefeated. They're averaging 36 points per game on offense, just allowing 8 per game on defense. Quarterback Matt Casilla. If I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize, buddy. It's Kucia. I'm going with Casilla. I don't know if that's right or not. We'll see. Last week, 20 for 27, 2 touchdowns, has 17 touchdowns, just 2 picks on the season. Running back Jamal Horton, 26 for 156 and a touchdown. Receiver Sequel Patterson, the SC commit, 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Hayden Moore, 7 for 71. You mentioned defensively, they got so many names. Michael Foster last week, 13 tackles, 5 TFLs. Jackson Connor, 15 tackles. Fallaker, Headley, Petrie, Perry, all double-digit tackles in last week's ballgame against Fort Mill. And you cap it off with 2 really good players on the back end with Patterson and Bryson Connor, 2 of the better DBs you'll see across the state. Really athletic guys there that can get it done for them. On the Northwestern side, they had a bye last week. 2 weeks ago, 45-14 over Rock Hill, averaging 48 points per game on offense, 24 allowed on defense. Quarterback Xavier Means has stepped in, done a fantastic job. He has 17 pass touchdowns, 15 rush touchdowns on the season for Coach Walford's group there. Running back Zykel Ree went for 121 or 2 touchdowns against Rock Hill. Receiver Cam Vance, he's a stud. Jonathan Spurgeon is also a really talented guy out wide for them. Offensive line is a veteran group with Chris Coleman. They're really good. Defensively led by Tamarian Watkins, the Texas A&M commit. You got Cameron McFadden in the middle. Jeremiah Cannon's a weapon at linebacker. Jaden Baxter flies around. DBs Josh Singleton, Jalen Richardson. Another loaded group there for that Trojans team. John, should be a fantastic ball game. Like you said, some of the better athletes that we'll see with like Patterson and Vance and Means. Somebody told me Xavier Means probably the fastest guy on Northwestern's team, and he's the quarterback, which is really cool to see there. Really intrigued to think, what Coach Hastings at Indiana might do with Patterson in a big game like this. Like, they have not had a ton of close ball games lately. When we first saw him come on the scene a couple years ago, he was kind of stepping into like a quarterback wildcat role there, and it just looked awesome as a youngster. Now he's playing receiver DB. Do you put the ball in his hands a little more in a game like this? I don't know. Intrigued to see what they do for him, but going to be a fun matchup. Vance and Spurgeon against Patterson and Connor. That'll be a really fun back end matchup to watch there. And I think for me, the X factor for Northwestern is Means legs. What can he do running the football? I think he had a 5-touchdown rushing performance a couple weeks back. I think what he can bring to that group on the ground is really what sets him apart. It's why they're a state title contender again. But it should be a great ball game. I had it written in my notes that Indian Land, while they haven't been tested, they've answered every call this year, John, but the phone hadn't rang like this. This Northwestern group is a different monster here. I think the Trojans win this game, probably by a couple scores. I think Coach Walford's group is just too talented right now and too explosive on offense. I think they win this football game. Jerel, what do you like? What's the chat saying about this Indian Land Northwestern game?
Man, put that on a shirt. The phone hasn't rung like this. I like that. I like that one. No, this one should be fun too. I think it's going to be one of those. It's going to raise some eyebrows. I think it's going to be a game where it's going to be halftime and it's going to be really low scoring, and then you're going to see who makes the adjustments in the second half, and I think you're going to see one side pull away. I just think that side's going to be Northwestern. But that's no disrespect to this Indian bunch. What Coach Hastings has done here is fantastic. Kevin and I got the opportunity to meet with Ian Guerin, do an interview with him from Prep Red Zone last week. Two of the teams I asked him about were AC Flora, team that we just talked about, and this Indian Land bunch, and he could not speak higher of this Indian Land group. So these kids have grown up playing together. They love one another. They have been fantastic, and you've seen it come together this year. This is me and Kevin saw this team play a couple years ago in the playoffs against Greer, and you could see it happening then. I mean, they were in a dogfight in that game. Probably should have won it. I mean, it was a fantastic football game, but
rough kick call and missed field goal.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I think it's Northwestern until it's not. Just they've earned that right. Defending state title, won this region. So I think Northwestern is going to win it. But I'm just really ecstatic to see what this Indian Land bunch is going to do on on Thursday, or they're playing Friday.
They're playing
Friday. On Friday and into the playoffs.
What do you think, Jerel and John, with that point I made about Patterson? Do you look at maybe doing some more stuff with him with the football in his hands? That's kind of how he came up. When we first saw him, Jerel, he was doing quarterback, Wildcat stuff. Hasn't done a lot of that this year. You wonder if you change it up a little bit for a big game like this, or even going into the playoffs possibly.
I don't know if you're Indian Land. I watched them play earlier this year too, and Patterson was involved, but he wasn't the focal point.
Right.
The offense, and I don't know if you need to do that, honestly. I think I don't know if you necessarily move him around, but I do think you focus on getting the ball in his hands more. Yeah. He probably touched the ball half a dozen times in the game that I watched earlier this year. And I can't remember who it was that they played, but you got to put the ball in the playmaker's hands, right? Yeah. You got to give the ball to Patterson a lot. I don't know if you necessarily have to put him at quarterback. Maybe put him in the backfield though.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Fight a little bit of talent with talent, right? But yeah, it will be interesting to see. But you got to use them. You got to utilize them as much as you can.
Yeah, I mean, you got to maximize as much as you can. You got to get him the ball in any way, shape, or form. And then, of course, you got to get some turnovers. You got to do some things. I mean, just because this Northwestern bunch is so talented, not to say Indian Land is not, but, they're going to have to get some breaks, certainly to win this football game. But I'm really excited about what happens with Patterson and this game in general.
What's the chat saying about this one, Jerel? Armani says, if Indian Land can contain the quarterback, they got a shot. He's a difference maker. Like I said, 32 touchdowns, about a half and half split passing to rushing. So really impressive what he's done there this year. Brandon's got Northwestern 45-21. Jonathan's got Northwestern 49-7. Wolfman's got Indian Land with the upset, 22-21 on a 2-pointer to win the game. How about that? Ooh. I like that call, Wolfman.
All right.
Zach wants to pull the trigger on Indian Land, but can't do it. He's going to Western big, maybe over about halftime. Been there, done that. There's something to say for that for sure. Chris says, did you ever have Indian Land undefeated playing region title and being a card this year? Certainly did not. We knew they had some talent coming back, but didn't see him going 9-0 to this point. Really impressive what, like Jerel said, what Coach Hastings has done there. Dion's got Indian Land 49-42. Patterson scores 5 touchdowns. I think they might need a few from him this week. Brown says, whoever gets turnover on D scores and wins. Battle to the end. Northwestern takes it at the end for the W, says Brian.
Yeah, everyone's conflicted on this one. Should be a lot of fun, but this next one might be a little bit more fun.
Our fourth Kona game of the week, another massive 5A showdown, a crosstown rivalry game here as well, John. We got Dutch Fork, the Silver Foxes, defending state champs, 7-1 on the season, 4-0 in region play, traveling to W.C. Hawkins Stadium, taking on the 9-0, 4-0 region play Irmo Yellow Jackets. Coach Knotts, Coach Brand, two old friends have coached together before, coaching against each other now. Man, a heck of a rivalry here, John. I know you're familiar with it, very familiar with it. We saw this game last year. Dutch Fork won 24-14 in a really, really exciting football game. Two teams that have just been playing well all year. You know, Dutch Fork's one loss to a really talented Oceanside team. Irmo has been kind of handling everybody the last several weeks. So what do you like in this one? Two high-powered teams that are, you know, destined to make deep playoff runs here for sure.
Yeah, you know, you look at both of these teams and you look at their body of work for this season, and it's pretty similar. You know, I think these are, I wouldn't say one team is far ahead of the other from a performance perspective, but what I base this on, I saw Dutch Fork, I saw the end of the Dutch Fork Ridgeview game earlier this year, and granted that's one game, and I probably watched a majority of the fourth quarter of that game, maybe some of the third quarter. Small sample size, right? The Dutch Fork team last year was better than the Dutch Fork team this year, at least from what I could see. I have not gotten to see Irmo play this year, but from what I'm hearing and what I know you and Jerel saw them, what was that week 0 against Burns?
Week 1 against Burns, yeah.
The drop off from this Irmo team from last year doesn't seem to be much at all, if any, which is incredible, given the talent that they lost last year. Shows you how loaded they are. Again, you know, got a bunch of talent there. They're playing at home. They're hungry. This a win for them. They're not thinking about playoffs. They're not thinking about where they're going to go next week, who's going to come to Irmo, whatever. They want to win this game. They don't care anything about that this week. And you know, Dutch Fork probably doesn't either. But they are very, very hungry to win this game. And I think they've got the ingredients to do it. And being at home, I think Irmo finds a way to win this game. And I think if this is going to be big for the Yellow Jackets, because I think if they can find a way to win this game, they got a great chance to go win the state championship. If they don't win tonight, or if they don't win Friday against Dutch Fork, I think that stigma's going to come back. They're like, man, we're really good. We're just not that good. This is a big game for Irmo. If they can win, I might be picking them to win the state championship.
Dutch Fork, big win over River Bluff, 37-0 last week, averaging 40 points per game on offense, 13 allowed on defense. Quarterback Jackson Knotts, 18 for 27, a $193 and a touchdown. Running back Kyle Henry, 17 for 136, 2 touchdowns. Receiver Stone Furry, 5 for 97 and a touchdown. Braden Johnson, he's a good weapon out of the backfield for them. Offensive lines led by sophomore center Brody Lorenzo. He's a stud up front for Coach Knotts there. Defensively, they got 2 power 4 guys up front with Jaden Worth and Julian Walker. Linebacker Raleigh Salters played a ton of football and just played a lot of really good football for that Coach Braswell defense. I love what he brings to that group. Defensive backs led by Mario Anderson, Ethan Moe, Sebastian Lake, also contributors. And a guy to watch, freshman Tadrick Gibson. He may be next up there for the Silver Foxes. On the Irmo side, a big 48-6 win over Chapin, averaging 42 points per game on offense, 15 allowed on defense. Quarterback Dre Dobson has stepped in, taking the reins from A.J. Brand, has done a fantastic job this year. He's a true dual-threat guy, really poised under pressure. They haven't played a lot of close games, but when they have, he has made plays. You talk about that Burns game. He led them on a last-minute drive, last-minute touchdown to win that game on the road. Does a great job whenever the team needs him to do things like that. Running back Amir White has stepped in the last couple years, been a great playmaker for Coach Brand as well. Malik Miller does it all, rushing, receiving. He is a weapon for them. Receivers Jay Edie, Ethan Singletary outside. Offensive line led by the big recruit Nate Carson. Defensively, John, the defensive line is as good as you'll see in the state. You got Jaden Bryant, Major Taylor, Tyrone Jennings, 3 studs up front for that group. Safety Jamar Grissett is the big player on the back end for them, along with Jaden Arrington, CJ Currents, and Makari Allen Hendricks, also playmakers. The last 2 weeks for Irmo, last week, 87 pass yards allowed, 24 rush yards allowed, 111 total yards. 2 weeks ago, 74 pass yards allowed, 54 rush yards allowed, 128 total yards. The Yellow Jacket defense is nasty, John. They are doing it really well on that side of the football. This is a tough game to pick because, we always say, like, Dutch Fork is Dutch Fork until somebody beats them. And they don't get beat very often. We've talked that one loss they've got, 5-6 weeks ago, whatever. They're a lot better team than then, it feels like. I like Dutch Fork a lot, man. And I like this Irmo group a lot, too. I think both of them, as we mentioned, are probably the favorites to win their class, 5A Division I, 5A Division II. On the Irmo side, I saw an interview with Coach Brand this week. He says they expect to win this football game. They haven't, they didn't win it last year, didn't win state last year, but they expect to win this game. Like, he has kind of instilled that with this group. I think this is 3 years in a row they've been 9-0. He's done a great job turning that program around. It's one thing to say and one thing to believe. I think they actually believe it. I think they can win this football game. I think they are as good, if not better, than Dutch Fork. I can't wait to see how this one shakes out. And I think really it might come down to who can kind of run the ball better. Can Henry for Dutch Fork get it going? Can White for Irmo get it going? I think both teams are really good in pass defense. So it's who can get the rush game going. Jerel, who do you like in this one? I want to hear your pick before I make mine, and see if you can talk some sense one way or the other to me.
I mean, I'm going against my golden rule, and that is to never pick against Dutch Fork, but I'm going against it. I think this Irmo team is better. Like, I think they're flat out more talented. I think they're a better team. And again, I know it was weeks ago when I watched the second half of that Oceanside game with Dutch Fork, and they beat them up front. And I think the defensive and offensive lines for Irmo are better than Oceanside. I'm going with Yellow Jackets here. Again, this might be the first time I've ever publicly picked against Dutch Fork, but I'm going Irmo. I think they're flat out better. I think they'll win this game. They're playing at home. They're probably want revenge. And I really think there's a legit shot, much like last year, that we see 2 state championships coming back to the city of Irmo. But I like the Yellow Jackets in this one. Go ahead, Kevin. Make your pick.
I really wish you hadn't done that. This might be the stupidest thing we've ever done on this show. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to take Irmo also. Wow. Same thing like you said. I think the line play, defensive line, especially for Irmo, I think is going to have their way. I love Dutch Fork's O-line. I love Lorenzo and that crew for them. But I think just the variety of weapons that Irmo has up front with Bryant, Taylor, and Jennings can really get it after it. I think Coach Brand's bunch is ready to win this ball game, win this type of ball game, and take the next step. They got to want to step out of that shadow, though, right? You got to think that's got to be a part of the motivation too. Yeah. But yeah, we're giving Irmo or Dutch Fork a lot of bulletin board material, which I'm sure will be great for us. Sure. Sure. Just like they need another reason to win a football game, but should be a great one. I can't believe we're all going Irmo. Did not see that coming. When I was taking my notes just this afternoon, I was like, I think I might take Irmo here. And I was like, I don't think John and Jerel, neither one of them will take Irmo. No. Here we are.
We've learned nothing.
Did it.
Put us on the TV. I can see it coming now.
Let's do it.
We're taking the Yellow Jackets. What's the chat saying, Jerel? Chris says Knox ain't the QB. That Apple he's made a ton of mistakes in big games. Give me Irmo by 14 or more, says Chris.
Hey, we're not alone.
Nathan says Dutch Fork doesn't respond well to 11 personnel. OCA versus Dutch Fork. Looking back at that game, Brandon's taking Irmo 35-32. Dion says Knox equals Saban. Don't pick against either one. I don't feel good about it, Dion. Don't feel good about it.
I don't feel good at all.
Courtney's taking Irmo 30-24 over Dutch Fork. G. Bryant says Jaden Bryant masterclass. You'll see the game for Irmo late in the fourth, 24-21. Special player. I think I saw number 1 edge rusher next year's class. Just really, really talented guy there. Jonathan's got Dutch Fork. It's top over here. He's taking Dutch Fork 28-21. Jesse Bryant's taking Irmo. Dion's taking Dutch Fork 21-17. Zach said he's learned his lesson 4. Don't pick against Dutch Fork.
Smarter than us.
Yeah.
Or Ricky's got Irmo win by two or more touchdowns. How about that? Monster, no monster. That's all I'm going to say. Coach Wright, I appreciate you, my man. Hey, we're all taking Irmo. So here we go. Zach says Irmo loses by 30. Who to play? Yeah. I can see this going well for us. Justin's got Irmo 42-35.
A lot of Irmo picks.
Phil, not a fan of the Yellow Jackets. At least one. He says go Midland Valley. Okay, I love it.
Well, yeah, no, we did it. So got Irmo in this one. We'll see what happens on Friday, but it should be a fantastic football game. Let's go to the SCISA game, guys.
3 picks for Irmo there. So our SCISA game of the week, we got Holly Hill, 9-0, 4-0 in region, taking on 7-2 Jefferson Davis. This game is for the region as well. John, the thing about SCISA, sometimes you see rematches later on in the year. We got Holly Hill, who won this game 28-6 earlier on in the season against JDA. You get a rematch this Friday night. Holly Hill, big win over Cross last week. Quarterback Parker Kaiser, 6 for 12, 62 yards and a touchdown, 10 carries for 332, 5 more touchdowns. You get some crazy stats in 8-man football. Listen to Parker's season stats right now. 223 carries for 2,607 yards and 41 touchdowns through 9 games, John. So only averaging over 4 touchdowns a game, man. Love what he's doing there for Coach Hendricks. Jaden Crew had a touchdown last week. Tyler Green had a touchdown catch. Defensively, Green had 24 tackles, 3 TFLs, and a pick. Jacoby Sweatman had 13 tackles as well for the Raiders. JDA, a 74-72 win over Kings last Friday. Quarterback Dalton Nix, 5 for 10 for 156, ran it for 70 yards to 3 touchdowns. Running back Gregory Lehan, 28 for 238, 6 touchdowns. Receivers Williams and Ray. Defensively, Ray 10 tackles, Harrington 10 tackles, and Nolan Craig 9 tackles. A great rivalry here. A key factor here, John, in that first matchup, 28-6 Holly Hill, we said, Gregory Lehan, JDA's leading rusher, did not play in that football game. He is back now for JDA. Could be a difference maker. I'm still taking Holly Hill. I think they're too explosive with Kaiser. I love what he does at the quarterback spot. He's a guy who doesn't throw it a lot. When he does, he's very efficient and obviously can get it done on the ground. I think the Holly Hill team wins this game on the road this time to lock up the region title.
I think so too. I think Holly Hill's a little bit better. And I don't think we're going to see 28-6. I think we're going to see a lot more fireworks.
Agreed.
A lot more touchdowns in this game. And maybe a score closer, but I still think Holly Hill wins this game.
Jerel, who do you like in this SCISA game of the week?
Let's make it the sweep as well. Let's go Holly Hill. There's not as many waves with this one as we did with the last one, but I think they're going to win this football game. But the one thing I have to say is we have to figure this out next year. We've got to cover an 8-man game. I have got to see this played. We've been talking about it for years. I have got to see it. I've got to see it, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Zach says Holly Hill is the hammer to their class in SCISA. They really are. They actually got, I think they got beat in the semifinals last year. Richard Wynn won the state title. But Holly Hill, a great pedigree down there in 8-man football.
But yeah, that's all the comments we got on this one, guys.
Once again, our Kona games of the week. If you missed these, you can go back and check them out later on. They'll be at the beginning of the show. We'll have them time-stamped on Facebook and YouTube. We had Lewisville Lamar. John and I taking Lewisville. Jerel taking Lamar. We had Camden and Flora. All of us taking Flora in that matchup. Indiana Northwestern, we're all on Northwestern. And Dutch Fork Irmo, we're all on Irmo. And then we've got 3 picks for Holly Hill against JDA in our SCISA game of the week. Jerel, let's shout out some friends of the program. We'll come back and we'll start going through the rest of the statewide slate, 5A down through SCISA.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopaedic and Neurosurgical Associates, Kona offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to kona.care to learn more.
John, let's take a look at the 5A slate. I know we got some Thursday and Friday games this week, as we do probably in most classes we'll come to.
Yeah, we got a lot of games here on Thursday night. We got 10 of them in 5A. A lot in the Low Country. We got Goose Creek hosting Stratford.
Stratford locked up that region title last week. The Knights, they lost that early game to Somerville and it just rolled since then, man. Coach McDaniel's bunch has had a really good season, been a really fun team for us to follow.
Yeah, they've done great. Also in that region, you got Somerville hosting Fort Dorchester. River Bluff is at home against Lexington. Berkeley hosting Cane Bay. Malden travels to J.L. Mann. Ashley Ridge will head to West Ashley. Lucy Beckham at home against Wando. James Island hosting RB Stall. White Knoll is at home against Chapin. And Greenwood traveling to Easley.
And I was thinking about this too as you're going through those games. We got a lot of low country, like you said there. I don't know what the region tiebreaker is there for that region. I think it's region 8 in 5A. We're going to have a little round robin of James Island, Somerville, Ashley Ridge, all with one loss if everything holds according to playing this week. So I don't know what the tiebreaker is there in that one, but really intrigued to see how those three shake out, who gets that region crown if they all win this week.
And some poor 2 seed is going to have to play the 3 out of that region. That's going to be brutal. Flipping over to Friday night, we've got Fort Mill hosting Rock Hill. Gaffney is at home against Wade Hampton. We talked about our Kona game of the week, the big game in Irmo. Dutch Fork traveling to WC Hawkins to take on Irmo. Eastside is at home against Dorman.
I tell you what, I saw that Dorman team last week. Really impressive what they've got there. Coach Moore's done a fantastic job. The offense, Nick Means does a great job. They got 3 backs, really, Means and Tate, and then a freshman Carter Nash who had a big touchdown run late for them as well. Meek Slidell at the quarterback spot, kind of a field general, does just enough for them. And defensively, they have some playmakers. Contavian Anderson, the Clemson commit's a stud on the back end. They had a youngster, a junior DB, Jabez Thomas, made 2 fantastic interceptions, really drove onto the ball. One was a kind of a diving pick. Love talking to him after the ball game. Super good kid. Super great game from him. Tylen Edwards as well played well for them. That was without their big defensive lineman. Christian Waring was out for Coach Morse's bunch. So that Dorman team, a team that we haven't talked a ton about this year, I think they're really good. They're a threat to make a deep run in the 5A playoffs.
Yeah, Cavs have turned a corner this year. Got a rivalry game over in Blythewood. Ridgeview hosting Blythewood. Another Kona game of the week, Northwestern hosting Indian Land. Big game here, Greenville hosting TL Hanna. Spartanburg will be at home against Riverside. West Florence travels to Spring Valley. Myrtle Beach hosting North Myrtle Beach.
Good rivalry there. I think the Seahawks a little better team this year, but always fun those two guys get together.
Catawba Ridge travels to Clover. Boiling Springs at home against Burns. Sumter travels to Westwood.
How about that Sumter team last week, John? We got to bring that up for a second. We had that as a game of the week. I believe we all picked Ridgeview to beat Sumter, and Sumter, went out to a big lead, had to kind of hold on late. But Coach Barnes' bunch, they can score points on anybody, it feels like. They put up a big number against a really good Ridgeview defense last week. Franklin Richardson, the quarterback, is a fantastic, runner with the ball in his hands. That Sumter team, similar to Dorman, a 5A team that's had a good season we've not talked a ton about, I think they're both poised to make some runs here in the playoffs. Yeah,
I watched the fourth quarter of that game, and I feel like Ridgeview didn't play bad. Just Sumter offensive line up front. Yeah. They did enough to open up enough holes for Richardson, the running backs, to get through and make plays. And Sumter's got a lot of speed. You give them a little bit of a hole, boy, they can really take it. That was an impressive win. And they came back. Ridgeview scored pretty late, maybe 4 minutes left in the game, and Sumter went right down the field and scored again to take the lead back. Impressive performance by the Gamecocks. That offensive line's going to be tough.
Yeah.
We talked last week, like, well, they can't really throw the ball. They may not have to. They put up 36 on a really, really good defense. That was an impressive win by them. We've got Hillcrest traveling to Woodmont.
Big win for the Rams over Greenville last week. I think with that win, that locked up the region title for TL Hanna, actually, I believe, since they have already got the head-to-head over Greenwood.
Then we'll have Conway hosting Carolina Forest and Socastee at home against St. James.
Carolina Forest, one of our teams of the week, the big one from Myrtle Beach, locked up their region title. They're playing great for Coach Morris. Another 5A team that could make some noise here in the playoffs. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 5A slate. Brandon says, Burns impressive last week, 49-7 over Spartanburg. They certainly were. I think Trent Lynch did not play for Spartanburg in that ball game, but still, Segura had a huge game. I think it was 250 on the ground for the Rebels. Kind of the offensive showing we've been looking for, been waiting for that group. Really got him going. The Rebels are a good football team for sure. Alexion said, go night, Stratford Region champs. Yes, locked it up last week. They played great football, like I mentioned. Really fun team to follow this season.
Yeah. And G, we'll talk in depth about playoff brackets next week. So we'll do playoff preview. So we'll talk about that a lot. You'll be sick of it. So we'll go through all of the classifications then. But let's go down to 4A.
Looking down at 4A now, John.
You've got another handful of games on Thursday here in 4A, starting with Fountain Inn at home against Southside. South Point will be hosting Richland Northeast. Brooklyn Casey on the road against Airport. Wren is at home against Westside.
That's the region title there. I may be there Thursday, maybe at Flora Thursday. I don't know yet, but this is a fantastic ball game here. You know, Westside 0-4 to 5-4. They played some great football down the stretch here for Coach Lane, a group that's really grown up. It's been fun to see what they've done with Keelan Powell and Bear Woods and crew there on offense. Wren, a team that has been a little bit hard to figure out this year. A couple kind of odd games mixed in with some really impressive wins as well. Coach Freight's team, I think, has the firepower to win this football game. Westside, a team that, you know, a lot of folks did not expect to be at this point playing for a region title. Should be a great one on Friday. I don't know which team I'm leaning to honestly, this one, but should be a lot of fun to follow. John, you have any thoughts on this one, man? Because this is a big matchup here.
Yeah, I feel like Wren is catching Westside at a bad time here, but they do have them at home. I think Wren is probably the better team. I don't know if they're playing better right now, though. I'm going to go with Wren because they're at home, but would not be surprised if Westside wins this game.
Charles says Wren Hurricanes. I know Charles is a big Wren fan. Yeah, should be a good one on Thursday, Charles.
That other game you mentioned, Kona game of the week, AC Flora hosting Camden. We've also got a big game here in the Low Country, Bluffton hosting May River. 2 7-2 squads going at it in that one.
A lot of playoff seeding on the line in that one, I believe. You know, both teams just one region loss at this point. You know, Hilton Head, I think, is locked up that region since they're still undefeated. So this will determine 2 and 3 here, and you know, maybe a home or away game here in round 1. But should be a fun one to follow on Thursday as well. Let's look over to Friday now, John.
We got one more on Thursday. That's a Sumter rivalry, Crestwood hosting Lakewood, and then flipping over to Friday. We've got a few more games. We got South Aiken hosting Aiken.
That game, obviously a great rivalry. I believe also decides who goes to the playoffs and who stays home. So a really big one there between those two squads.
Big time. Gray will be at home against Gilbert. Pickens hosting Travelers Rest. York will travel to Lancaster. Blue Ridge hosting Berea. North Augusta traveling to Midland Valley. This game was brought up earlier. This is a big-time ball game here, too.
Yeah, you know, last time they played over in Graniteville 2 years ago, Midland Valley ended a 20-plus game losing streak in the series to Midland Valley. You know, this Midland Valley team this year probably not quite as good as that group, but still talented enough to win the football game, no doubt about it. Dion says over under 150 for Doe this week versus Valley. I'm going to take the over. I think Doe is probably going for closer to 200 here. Trez says Valley upset. Should be a great one. You know, these two teams don't like each other. Both teams have a lot of athletes. Jeter at quarterback for Midland Valley is a great player. You mentioned Doe already from North Augusta. Looking forward to following this one on Friday. Should be a great matchup over there. Two great coaches as well, Coach Bush, Coach Dorn. Valley upset 42-0, says Trez. I don't think that's going to happen, Trez. That would be quite a shocker there. Dion says Midland Valley, no Dunbar anymore. Yeah, he is gone. He is not there for that group any longer.
Moving on, we've got Greer hosting Daniel.
Jerel,
Jerel.
Jerel, pop in, Jerel.
No, I was just going to keep, tell you, that was all for the comments on that one.
Good rivalry game here. South Florence hosting Hartsville.
I mean, that's region title on the line there. A Hartsville team that, similar to Westside, has really grown up. You know, started a bunch of young pieces this year after losing guys that you knew names of, like, you know, Demarion Coe and Hakeem Waters and that whole crew. They're all gone now. A bunch of young guys, Ford Wallace and crew, has really, you know, come along, play good football. South Florence has been, you know, great all year long. They beat Somerville early on. Their one loss is to Northwestern. They played really good football for Coach Marlowe, as to be expected. I think South Florence at home is a little too good right now for this Hartsville group, but always fun when those two guys get together.
Yeah, and Hartsville will be a tough one in the playoffs. Nobody will want to see them coming. Wilson will be at home against Darlington. Bishop England hosting Colleton County. Beaufort travels to Hilton Head. And Lawrence will host Emerald.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 4A slate. Jonathan's taking Red Foxes over Bruins It has happened before, Jonathan, as recent as last year. So certainly could happen again. But I think we're all leaning South Florence here, unless Jerel is thinking something else. I don't know.
Give me South Florence on that one.
Charles says, Montu, we going to break the school rushing record for Wren this week. Interesting. I didn't know how close he is, but he has had a fantastic season there for the Hurricanes and Coach Frey. Dion's going 42-35, Aiken with the upset over South Aiken. Randy's got Westside in a close game. Steven says, Westside upsets Wren, secondary is suspect. Courtney said he's got Westside 24-17. Zach says if Wren can have a big game for Monty Brown, have a good chance. Tony's got Wilson over Darlington. I like that pick as well.
I agree with that. Darlington improved group.
Yep. Wolfman says top 4 of 4A is pretty stacked. It really is. Yeah, that top couple there with South Florence, South Point have not moved pretty much all season for those top couple spots there. Brandon's taking Lawrence 21-17, getting their first win of the year, right?
And I want to applaud Brandon.
They have one already.
I think they got one. I think they beat Southside.
Okay. Okay. He's got Lawrence over Southside.
I just wanted to applaud Brandon. He's been really taking, his liberty with Lawrence all year. So I want to applaud him for having them win this one. But let's go down to 3A, guys.
Looking down at 3A now, John.
We've got 2 Thursday night games in 3A. The first one, Battery Creek hosting Hanahan, and the other, Georgetown welcoming in Dillon. On Friday night is our bulk of our games here in 3A. Belton Hunyapath travels to Walhalla. Orangeburg Wilkinson will host Oceanside.
Another game to look at as potential game of the week. Orangeburg Wilkinson, a team that we were high on coming into the season, and all they've done is win every football game they play. They're 9-0. It's just tough because 3A is so deep. We haven't had a chance to get them up in our poll yet. Honestly, Coach Carter's group, Dalen Hall to Wanger, Jordan Avenger, those guys are really talented down there for the Bruins. Have not to play the toughest schedule. I think that's been part of it. We just haven't had a chance to talk about them a ton, it feels like. On the Oceanside side of things, we know how good they are. Aiden Manavian and crew. Terrence Johnson's having a monster year out wide for them. Defensively, Sawyer Arnold and crew are getting it done for Coach LaPrade. Man, a really talented team. We've had a number 1, I think, all year long in our poll. Should be a good matchup here. I think Oceanside is the better football team, I believe, than Orangeburg Wilson right now. Nothing against ODUP. I think Oceanside's probably better than just about anybody in the state. So nothing against the Bruins there when I say that. But looking forward to that one on the road on Friday. If you're Orangeburg Wilson, if you'll be taking seriously, this is your chance to prove something to the state here. Dion's got ODUP with an upset 24-10. If you hold Oceanside to 10 points, that would be a special outing, it feels like there.
Yes. You're going to get a lot of respect no matter what. Moving on, we've got another huge game here. Newberry hosting Swansea. That's an undefeated Newberry squad, 8-1 Swansea.
Brandon says Newberry big over Swansea. Swansea 8-1 hadn't played the toughest schedule. They haven't. They lost to Silver Bluff a couple weeks ago. Newberry, I know quarterback Kenton Caldwell a little bit banged up last week, had to come out for a while. Freshman Sincere Glimp stepped in with 3 touchdowns for that Bulldog squad. Not sure the status of Caldwell for this week, but I think the Bulldogs will probably be fine either way. I think they've got that many weapons around them, enough to win the football game.
They certainly should. Pendleton is at home against Crescent.
That's probably for number 2 in that region there. Some good talent on both sides. Now, I know Pendleton's got a couple young DBs that are really good. Accurate Crescent, obviously, is a stud there. I believe I saw he actually decommitted from Liberty, I think, this week as well. So he's weighing his options of where he may want to go to school. But it should be a fun game. I think Crescent, wins that one.
We'll have St. Joseph's hosting Powdersville.
Carolina High continues to roll, John. Offense is special for them, man. They're playing good football for Coach Muster.
Yeah, they are. And they've been kind of quietly moving along at 7-2. That's another program you don't want to see in the playoffs.
Not at all.
Southside Christian will travel to Carolina High.
We got to stop here and talk about Southside Christian for a second. One of our teams of the week had a rivalry game last week and blanked Christchurch 31-0. Did not see that coming. This has been a team that's been a little bit hard to figure out. Had a really kind of an odd non-region playing Abbeville, MVP, Flora, Carolina Forest, like some really heavy hitters. Didn't have the most success in non-region. Hadn't played the best in region. Took it on the chin against Powdersville a couple weeks ago. They got back-to-back nice wins over St. Joe's and Christchurch. I don't know how good this team is, but that was really impressive last week, man. I don't know what to make of these guys.
And didn't they get shut out against Powdersville in that game?
They did 24-0. Yeah,
exactly. And then they go shut out Christchurch. I mean, this has been a Jekyll and Hyde season for that bunch,
Yes.
but hell of a week last.
Yeah, I think Coach Guest is doing a great job there. Coach Cap coming over to that program has really, kind of infused some energy to them. Their group has got a lot of potential. DJ Lee there is a stud offensively for them. I think they're really good, man. I just don't know if they're ready for a deep run this year. It might not quite be to that point, but that was impressive what they did last week for sure. I think they win again this week as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some good momentum going to the playoffs. Loris, they'll be at home against Aner. Chapman hosting Broome. Woodruff travels to Union. Walkenball at home against Marlboro County. Big game in the region here. Both teams now 6-3.
Yeah, Walkenball has been kind of trending up, it feels like, the last few weeks. Marlboro County, not a surprising loss last week, but surprising the scoreline, I would say. They got hammered by Loris, a team that we all like Loris a lot, but did not see the whooping coming that they put on Marlboro County. 49-14, non-competitive football game there for the Bulldogs. I do think they're better than Walkenball. I think they win that game this week, but I was really surprised by the way last week shook out there for Coach Johnson's play.
Yeah, they got to play better this Friday. Yeah. Christchurch is at home against Palmetto, and Fox Creek will travel to a suddenly 5-4 Silver Bluff squad.
Two teams trending the opposite directions. Silver Bluff has played well the back half of the season. Fox Creek has kind of fallen off a little bit. I think Silver Bluff the better football team in this one. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 3A slate? Courtney says time for the Big Bears to go to 10-0, get over the playoffs to make a deep run. Yeah, I think they win easily this week, Courtney. They've been just rolling everybody this season. I think it's no different this week. Zach says Oceanside name their number won't be close by halftime. Trez got OW doesn't have a chance. They had a close game with Creek. Yeah, I think Oceanside's a better football team, but OW has been impressive what they've done getting to this point for sure. Randy says Christchurch bounced from a hard loss. Martin has a monster game, better seed in the playoffs, third seed than the second seed in Region 2-3A. Yeah, with the way the brackets work out, sometimes that happens for sure, Randy. They definitely need a big win this week. It's kind of a confidence booster going into the playoffs for Coach Hatfield's bunch. Brandon says Powdersville, number 1 overall seed in Upper State 3A, will host all the way through the playoffs, and that could be a good environment there too. We saw a huge game against Daniel a couple of years ago there. Packed out both sides, great atmosphere. The Patriots fans come out and support. So that is a big plus for them getting some home games over there at Powdersville.
Coach Muster just doing his work in the shadows, man. Just always just rolling out a great team, just low maintenance, just winning games. But yeah, that's all we got for 3A. Let's keep moving.
Let's shout out some friends of the program, Jerel, and then we'll look down at the 2A, 1A, and SCISA slate.
Schedule your sewer drain clearing with Preferred Home Services today. If we can't clear it, it's free.
Electrical, plumbing, cooling too.
Go, 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 Preferred!
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, Letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first choice.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on the go, the pick up and go, and the oh, I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
Let's look down to the 2A slate now, John.
We got 3 games on Thursday night. Pelion hosting American Leadership. Philip Simmons at home against Andrews.
Hey, the Iron Horse is a shutout win last week over Timberland. Really good performance there for Coach Bendig's group, man. They are another team that has been kind of laying in the weeds. Haven't talked about a ton. All of a sudden, they're 7-2, winning their region. They're a team to look out for in the playoffs.
I thought Timberland was red hot. Picked Timberland to win that game last week. They didn't even get on the scoreboard. Very, very impressive win by Philip Simmons last week. And we see Liberty hosting Blacksburg on Thursday night as well. Going over to Friday, Lake City travels to Manning. Lake Marion is at home against Edisto. Barnwell will go to Whale Branch. Jerel is at home against Chesterfield.
Battle for the bell there. In that region, we'll talk about it here in a minute as well. It's just been so crazy this year. I think Jerel is the favorite, but who knows with what's happened in the rest of the region play, it feels like.
Yeah, that's a spin the wheel on that region.
Yeah.
Columbia will travel to Fairfield Central. 96 is at home against Strom Thurmond. Saluda will travel to Batesburg Leesville. A nice little rivalry game there.
Good one there. Saluda really impressed me. They played tough against Strom Thurmond last week. Had a chance to win that football game. I thought it wouldn't be close, but the Tigers really hung around and had a shot there to win it for Coach Werner. Batesburg Leesville, I think, has just been on kind of a different level since they lost to Strom Thurmond. Wooden, I think, has 6 games in a row with 200-plus rushing yards. He became the school's all-time leading rusher last week. That offense for Coach Lawson has really gotten rolling, playing great football right now. Jacob says, how do you feel about the Thurmond Saluda region with second, third, and fourth place coming into the winner of the games on Friday? Yeah, I think Thurman's going to get 1. I think Batesburg Leesville 2 and Saluda 3. I think Batesburg Leesville wins this game on Friday, I believe. That's kind of how I see it shaking out in that region. But I think Thurmond and Batesburg Leesville are the better teams out of that group. Dion's got Res by 35. Yeah, I think they beat 96 pretty easily. Res by 30, says Trez.
Yeah, moving on, we got Chesney at home against Landrum. Eau Claire hosting Mid-Carolina.
Another team of the week, the big win over Chester last week, 38-35. Great job by Coach Arnaud's bunch.
East Clarendon will host Merriam. Atlantic Collegiate travels to Kingstree. Andrew Jackson at home against Beaufort. Should be another win for the Vols. Burke will be on the road against Academic Magnet. Central Pageland going to North Central, a North Central team that
beat Andrew Jackson last week. Just a crazy region there. Honestly, I felt like, at least myself, John, I had seen North Central's record the last couple weeks. So 5-1, all right, whatever. I was like, they've got a good region, a good record. Haven't really played anybody. Non-region wasn't very good. Get hammered by Jerel. I was like, it's just, they didn't really have anything. Then they come back and they beat Andrew Jackson last week. And I was like, well, okay. Who wasn't a red hot Volunteers team, it felt like. I think Central beats North Central. I think Andrew Jackson beats Beaufort. So I think we'll probably still get AJ 1, Central 2, Jerel 3, North Central 4. But with that region, who really knows? It's been a wild one to follow the last few weeks for sure.
Yeah, that's certainly another region that's tough to match up with in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I guess my question for you guys is, what do you make of that? Like, are these teams good, or are these teams very comparable, and it's just whoever that week matches up well? Because I don't know either. I'm really confused.
It's a tough one. And the games have been so weird too. It feels like, I think back to the Central Jerel game I went to. That was a game that I think started like 6 o'clock because of weather, like moved up in the day. It comes down to a 1-score game late. You look at the way that Andrew Jackson Central ended 2 weeks ago.
Fumble at the goal line.
Scores, fourth and goal. Central breaks a long run. He gets ran down and fumbles into the end zone as they're going to win. Just nuts the way these games are going. So I don't know what to make of it. And also, I think Andrew Jackson's a tough place to play. Maybe that's how they were able to kind of, beat Central at home. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think they're all pretty good, but maybe just inconsistent maybe is a good way to put it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm tending to think that the top of the region might not be quite as good as we thought it was going to be coming into this year and in the early part of the year. And I think the bottom of the region, North Central, Andrew Jackson, I think those teams are better than what we've been giving them credit for until the last couple weeks.
I mean, in that North Central Andrew Jackson game last week, 17-7, just like an odd score. Like literally it's 2-0 at halftime, North Central. Andrew Jackson doesn't score until the third quarter. Like just a wild football game. Like I don't know what to make of that. Like, and now AJ, who has, make sure I got this right, they've got 4 losses. They're going to win the region. Like unless they lose to Beaufort this, which I don't think they're going to.
So who knows?
No, they probably will.
Probably will.
It's all over the place, man. I know that we had Central number 1 in our standings for a while. I think I don't know if Jerel got to 1. Jerel got pretty high as well.
They might be getting first place votes.
I think they did. So like they were pretty high up there.
Jerel was one, and I'm pretty sure they flip flopped when Central won that game early in the year. So it's just been crazy.
So yeah, it's looking like AJ won Central, North Central. If Central wins, they'll get the 2 seed. If North Central wins, they'll get the 2 seed. If Central loses, they'll get the 3. If North Central loses, they'll go to 4, I believe, is how that shakes out in that one. But just a wild region this year for sure.
Fun one to watch. And last game we've gotten to a Timberland trying to bounce back. They host Woodland.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the 2A slate. One of those teams coming to the Hampton County region, says Terrence. Yes, and I think probably at least the first 2 rounds, you'll probably get the 4 in round 1, and then maybe if the 3 wins, you'll probably get them in round 2, if I had to guess. But I can't remember exactly how that shakes out. But yeah, you'll certainly see them at some point. Zach says, looks like North Central is Sherrall coming to Clinton next Friday. If the bracket is correct. Yeah, I think it'll be North Central. Like, I think they're going to end up in that 4 spot. If just the way I predict things are going to shake out, I think they'll probably be in that 4 slot.
Can't wait to talk about it in depth next week. Let's go to the next one.
Yes, great point, Jerel. Next Tuesday, 7:15, our playoff round 1 preview show. We'll talk through not only round 1, but just kind of an overall look at the playoff slate. John, let's move to 1A now.
We've got 2 games on Thursday night. Bamberg Earhart travels to Denmark Olar, and Green Sea Floyds will head over to Lakeview. On Friday night, we'll start with Whitmire at home against Calhoun Falls. Clear Dot will host Thornwell. Lee Central travels to C.A. Johnson. McBee is at home against Great Falls. Wagner Sally travels to Calhoun County. Latta on the road against Johnsonville. I like Johnsonville to win this game, but this would be a big-time statement for the Vikings if they could pull it off.
This is for second place in that region. You know, both teams have already lost to Carvers Bay. Carvers Bay has won the region. But, you know, you look back at those matchups. Latta, non-competitive. Carvers Bay handling the whole game. Johnsonville was tied 14-all at halftime with Carvers Bay. A really impressive showing early on for Coach Chris Bunch. They kind of got pulled away from the second half. I think Johnsonville, a little better football team. With Davis and Powell in that crew there. I think Johnsonville at home wins that game.
I think it's going to be close, though.
Yeah.
2 good teams here as well. Ware Shoals undefeated, hosting Abbeville. I don't think they beat Abbeville, but it should be a good game to keep an eye on Friday.
You know, I'm looking. I might go to this game. I don't know yet. I'm just worried. You always worry, like, is Abbeville that much better than everybody else? I just don't know. Like, you look back 2 weeks ago, Ware Shoals, they beat Dixie 58-33. Kind of a tight game there for a while. Last week, Abbeville turns around and they beat Dixie 55-7. So it's like, what do you make? But also, could you say, hey, maybe Dixie was beat up from that Ware Shoals game. So Ware Shoals, really leaned on them. I don't know. It's just I can't pick against Abbeville. I just can't do it in region play. I looked earlier, John and Jerel. Abbeville, their last regular season region loss. What would you guess it would be? Just to throw a year out there.
I would say 2020.
2012.
In between, the last regular season region loss, October 2nd, 2015 to Strom Thurmond was Abbeville's last regular season region loss.
Wow. That's crazy.
Been 10 years for the Panthers. I don't think it happens this week either. I think Abbeville wins. Just really impressive what Coach Nichols has done there with that group. Just built a great program. Brandon says Ware Shoals pretty good season. I don't know Abbeville too much. That's kind of how I agree. I think as well. Courtney's got Ware Shoals an upset over Abbeville 20-17. That would be a shocker for sure. Tony says Ware Shoals beats Abbeville. Wow. We got a couple of Hornets picks in here. I like it. Dion says, people have been saying worst Abbeville team in years. That being said, 49-14 A-Town. Yeah, and I've told some folks, I feel like if there's a year to get Abbeville, it's this year. But I still think they're very, very, very good. Zach says he'll take Ware Shoals as well. JD says Abbeville by 4 touchdowns. Oh, it's on a Thursday because of the hurricane. I did not know that, JD. I just had the date. That is good stuff there. Appreciate the info on that. But yeah, I think Abbeville wins as well.
A lot of Thurman fans were in on that. They knew that one, so knew that bit of trivia, of course. But I mean, still 10 years ago.
That's a long dang time, isn't it? And that would have been a different. I guess that would have been 2A at that point. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
As well. Really cool stuff there. Really cool stuff.
And going from one good game to a Kona game of the week, Lamar hosting Lewisville. We'll have Dixie at home against McCormick. Blackville Hilda at home against Williston Elko. Scotch Branch hosting Military Magnet. Hardyville travels to Allendale Fairfax. Branchville on the road against St. John's. Cross will be hosting Baptist Hill. And Rich Spring Manetta at home against Hunter Kenner Tyler.
Any comments, Jerel, from you or the chat on the 1A slate? I do want to mention that Baptist Hill Cross game.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
A sneaky one there for Cross, a team that has been rolling all year long. The one loss to Timberland by a point early on. Baptist Hill, a really, tough loss to Scotts Branch last week. I think that Eagles team is good, though. Obviously, they've done a great job this season. But Baptist Hill is a team you can't sleep on if you're Cross for sure. You got to keep your eyes open. Got to pay attention to have a good football game. But I think Cross a little too much talent for them.
Yeah, Baptist Hill's a good program, good team. I feel like we talk about them late in the year usually. Certainly in the playoffs is a bit of a sleeper. And here they are again, same role.
Yeah, that's all I want to say too, man. The Baptist Hill, we don't really get to talk about them much during the season, but they're always in the mix at the end. And just want to shine a light, man. That's such a good program.
Yeah, I mean, 3 losses to bigger schools, North Charleston. Obviously Scotts Branch last week was a region loss, but they played some good football this year for sure. Any comments from the chat on the 1A slate or from you, Jerel, on the 1A slate?
Let's take a look at SCISA, guys.
Perfect. Go down to the SCISA ranks now, John.
We've got 4 games on Thursday night, starting with Hammond hosting Cardinal Newman. St. John's Christian will host Bethesda Academy. Pinewood Prep at home against John Paul II. And Palmetto Christian will travel to Cross Academy. Those games on Thursday night. As we look over to Friday, Hilton Head Prep hosting Hilton Head Christian. Dorchester Academy hosting Williamsburg Academy. Big time ball game there. A
massive 1A game. I've got written in my notes here. Could be a potential title matchup. Like these guys are that good. Dorchester, the big win last week over Collin and Prep. Williamsburg has been rolling all year long for first-year coach there. They're doing a great job. I like Williamsburg, I think, to go on the road and win this one, but I don't know. That should be a good ball game.
We'll see Wardlaw at home against Richard Wynn. Heathwood Hall travels to Northwood Academy.
Heathwood Hall playing some really good football behind quarterback Patrick Belt. Northwood continues to roll with Kevin Johnson, Caven Ford, Aiden Hogan. I think they keep this hot run rolling. I think the Chargers win again at home.
Kings Academy travels to Cathedral Academy. Wilson Hall on the road against First Baptist. Thomas Sumter travels to Orangeburg Prep. Patrick Henry Academy goes to Andrew Jackson Academy. Beaufort Academy heads to Thomas Hayward. PD Academy hosting Dillon Christian.
A good rivalry here. No love lost between the Warriors and the Golden Eagles. It should be fun one over at the lawn on Friday.
Florence Christian at home against Trinity Collegiate. Lawrence Manning hosting Porter Gowd. Camden Military at home against Northside Christian. Carolina Academy travels to Lee Academy. Calhoun Academy hosting Clarendon Hall. Lawrence Academy at home against King Academy. Spartanburg Christian will travel to Greenwood Christian. Our SCISA Kona game of the week, Jefferson Davis hosting Holly Hill, a rematch in that game. And Ben Lippen will host Augusta Christian.
I do want to shout out that King Academy, Lawrence Academy game, a 9-0, 8-1, 8-man game getting after. Another big one there over at Lawrence on Friday. 2 teams that are playing really good football. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the SCISA slate, or if not, let's just shout out some friends of the program.
Yeah, no, nothing on SCISA, but I did want to. JD, they might have lost the battle, but they won the war.
I love it, JD.
Hey, it works out.
That's right. That's right, man. There's not many years the Panthers don't win state right now. We'll put it that way for sure.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on the go, the pick up and go, and the oh, I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. Our Pick'em is brought to you by Hannah Engineering. We do 11 games each and every week. You make your picks. It's posted on our social media. We have an email that's sent out as well. And this will be the final week of the regular season Pick'em. We'll start a new Pick'em contest in the playoffs next week. We're going to put out a post probably tomorrow with the overall standings heading into this last week. But Jerel, let's look at our week 9 leaders. Jerel, let's look at our week 9 leaders. There we go. A 6-way tie for
sorry about that, guys.
A 6-way tie for first with Jacob, Flash, DJ, Brett, Avery, and CJ, all with the 10 spot. A bunch of 9s, a lot of guys there. And then Jerel led us with 9. John and I both with 8 in the week 9 pick. And like I said, we'll put out our overall standings as we head into the final week, week 10 here. We'll have a prize for that winner. And then next week we'll start our playoff pick. We'll have another prize for that set to follow. Shout out to our friends at Hannah Engineering for helping us with that each and every week. It's posted once again, I said, on our social media and on our email list. We send out the link every week for you to join. Hope you guys will continue to do that as we roll into the playoffs. Let's look now, Jerel, if you're ready, at our first team sports polls. Do you want to start 5A, 1A? What do you want to do?
We'll let John pick which way we're starting.
Let's go 1A.
Let's do it. I knew that was
starting
happening.
With 1A this week.
1A, just one change here, but not at the top. Abbeville getting all 3 first place votes. Bamberg coming in at 2, Carver's Bay at 3, Big Cross at 4, and at the 5 spot, sneaking in last week of the poll, Ware Shoals with that big matchup with Abbeville.
Also receiving votes, we have Lewisville. It's funny, John and Jerel, that this is the first time in quite a while we've had 2 upstate 1A teams in the poll. It's been a lot of lower state talk recently from us, and now we've got Ware Shoals in the poll and Lewisville receiving votes after that Johnsonville loss dropped them out last week.
Very deserving too. I'm happy to see that Ware Shoals bunch make it. And I think this might be the first time we've had them in one of our polls, so it's exciting.
I think so.
Jumping over to 2A, Thurman and Clennon tied at first this week. After Thurman was the solo one last week, Clennon getting 2 first place votes and Thurman getting 1. Hampton County coming in at 3. Central back up here in the 4 spot, and Phillip Simmons making their first appearance in the poll this year at the 5 spot, with Batesburg Leesville receiving some votes. So big shakeup in 2A due to that volatile region of that region 4 over there.
I mean, I feel like the last 3 weeks in 2A, the poll has been just a mess every week. Just so many changes at the top and at the bottom, just everywhere. I mean, I thought about, looking at, still, I know Timberland lost, but I was like, maybe they hang around. I looked at Jerel popping them back in the poll this week. I was like, Andrew Jackson, do they fall out? I don't know what to do here, man. It's just, it's been a mess right now, but I think we got a pretty solid one here, it feels like.
Yeah.
These are really good teams.
Yeah, one constant thing is Clennon has steadily climbed up the poll week after week. Those guys are they had that, ugly win, still a win against Chapman, but since then they have just played lights out and, get a bye going to the playoffs. That's even more scary.
And I don't have it in front of me, but I want to say the first, I guess the tie for first teams, the 3rd place team and the 5th place team, I don't think they have lost any games to 2A teams this year between the 4 of them.
Sounds about right.
I believe they all lost to higher competition.
Thurman lost North Augusta, Clennon upper teams. Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure. I know Thurman had the loss to the Georgia school. I'm not sure how big they are, but outside of that.
I think Hampton County lost to maybe Bluffton.
I think Bluffton, Christchurch, maybe one more bigger school as well early on. But nobody at 2A level for sure. But yeah, shout out to our friends at First Team Sports again for helping with our polls. But Jerel, if you want to go on or hear more comments or comments from the chat, however you want to do it, I'm letting you lead this segment.
Yeah, let's go through and then we'll look at the comments afterwards. But going to 3A, Oceanside just remaining up there at the top, getting 3 first-place votes. Got Newberry at the 2 spot. A little shake-up here. We had a flip. Loris now at 3. BHP stays at 4. And Woodruff goes down to 5. Guys, when I look at this one, I like it because I think this Loris bunch is the one to really, really watch. They have played really, really good football this year.
I mean, I'll say it, and I don't – Jerel, you know, cussing it to you, but I'm pretty sure I put Loris at 2 this week. I think I jumped them pretty high after that just demolishing of Marlboro County. You know, what they have done this season, it's one thing to do it last year when it's, you know, you're new on the scene, you're flashy, you know, nobody expects you to make this big run. But then this year when you are expected to be a contender and you've just answered the bell and just hammered everybody, had the close win against Dillon, but everybody else has been just multi-score win. Really impressive, especially last week over a good Marlboro County team, a team that was, you know, dangerous because they knew they had to have a win to have a chance to win the region, and they just demolished them. I think that Lions bunch of Coach Mance is the real deal. Really impressed with what they've done this season.
Yeah, and
I moved up in my poll.
Yeah, let me look. Oceanside, just so good. Newberry, I mean, had a fantastic performance last week, have been great all year. Loris has been great all year. BHP, I don't think has played within 2 scores of anybody this year. That's how good they've been. And then Woodruff, I mean, they bust into the scene, you know, knocking off MVP a couple of weeks ago, but they've played up. Those are the only games they've lost. I mean, they've just been, well, I guess they did lose to no, they've played up. So that's pretty much it with this bunch. So, and the crazy thing when I was tabulating the poll, I mean, typically we have some gaps. These guys were like single points away. Like that's how close we have it. But going to 4A, got South Point still at the top, South Florence at the 2 spot, Gray at 3, Hilton Head at 4, Daniel at 5, North Augusta receiving votes. This one stayed exactly the same from last week.
Yeah, I don't think I changed anything on my side.
Nope.
I know we saw some questions in the chat, or maybe actually posted, I think, on the polls last week we posted out. It's got some questions about Hilton Head Island and Daniel, had them kind of how they were shaking up there. I think I've got Daniel ahead of Hilton Head Island. Because I think the Lions are, you know, they're one loss to Stratford, nothing to shake ahead about there. But Hilton Head has played good football as well, so I certainly can see how they can be above the Lions.
Yeah, I've got them ahead of Daniel just from their body of work all year.
Same, likewise. Let's jump up to 5A. We'll go D2. Irmo, top spot, receiving 2 first-place votes. Northwestern receiving a first-place vote, but they slide in the 2 spot. Indiana at 3, TL Hanna at 4, and Greenwood at 5. It's essentially the same poll as last week. We had a tie for 4 last week, but it kind of separated. As you mentioned earlier, TL Hanna's won that region. Monster matchup against Indiana and Northwestern. And then obviously Irmo's going up against our Division II number 1. We'll just talk about them. Dutch Fork getting all the votes. Somerville at 2, James Allen at 3, Stratford at 4, and Center sliding up to 5. Ridgeview sliding out completely. And then, of course, we have Berkeley receiving votes in D2.
Yeah, so I'll start Division 1 here. I think Ridgeview went 2 to out completely, right? Is that what?
Gone.
Sumter hops in there. I thought about keeping Ridgeview in there. I just couldn't quite do it. I thought about putting Dorman in. Yeah, I thought they were impressive last week with their win. But just you could. I don't know. I didn't know who you were going to drop out. Cause I thought the Sumter win was that impressive as well. They had to stay in there for me in Division 1. It felt like.
I chose Sumter over Dorman because I liked Sumter's win last Friday more than Dorman's. Both great wins, very impressive. But you know, Sumter putting up 36 points coming from behind to beat a really good Ridgeview team, a really good defense. That really said a lot, and told me in my head, hey, maybe we're not talking about Sumter as much as we should have.
Yeah.
And 2, I mean, I just can't. You got Dutch Fork and Irmo going up against each other this week. Again, Northwestern Indian Land going up against each other this week. I'm just excited about those 5A games that we have coming up on Friday.
I do want to mention Division 2. And I don't know if we obviously we only rank 5 teams each week. If we were to rank 7, I have no idea what I would do in Division 2. Like I think these 5 we've got here and Berkeley who gets a vote.
There's just not enough teams.
Right. I was like, okay, I've got 6 I could rank. After that, I don't know where I would go in Division 2. I got no clue because it seems like it just drops off a cliff almost.
Yeah, it'd be tough. Yeah. I don't know either. I'm glad we only have 5 here. Like some of them, I'm upset that we have 5, and then some I'm like, thank goodness there's only 5. So So yeah, it's the same thing. But we'll remove this. Take a look at some comments here.
Our first team sports polls. Appreciate those guys as always for helping us out with that. But yeah, comments from the chat on the poll drill. I'm sure we're getting some as always. Zach says Clinton's laying in the weeds back at the top of y'all's poll. Yeah. Been climbing, steady climbing. Could be a potential
no weeds here.
Title game. It certainly could. I haven't looked at the bracket, but that would be a lot of fun to see those two get after it. Clinton is killing their region opponents 203-56. Actually, Georgia School was number 1 in 1A. Firm lost to. Interesting. Okay. Justin says, can they beat OCA? And I don't know who that's referring to, but I almost just want to do like a blanket statement of no.
Probably not.
So there's a chance. I mean, obviously anybody can be beat, but I think OCA is the favorite. Now, could somebody catch them on an off night? Sure. But there's nobody that I would pick neutral site to beat Oceanside Collegiate in 3A at this moment, I wouldn't say. If I had one pick.
I'm more confident in them winning the state championship than anyone else in any other class.
Yeah. Courtney thinks that BHP is the best team in 3A. No bias from him. Just kidding. I want to. We'll look into this next week.
Yeah, I think that would be a potential lower state title game, but I don't know that for a fact. Zach. Tress says North Augusta over Hilton Head. No disrespect. And North Augusta,
we're split over this.
I mean, just one loss to Gray Collegiate, which is obviously what knocked them out there. And it's just tough because Gray Collegiate's only got one loss to James Island. So there's just been a lot of really good play at the top part of 4A, it feels like. Tony says, what happened to Seneca?
They're right there. I mean, they just can't beat Daniel.
They're beating everybody else.
That's the problem. They can't beat Daniel.
Yeah, they got a Daniel problem for sure.
And I think they're better this year than they probably have been the last 3 or 4 years. They got a really good team.
Scott, how do you feel about Myrtle Beach? Lost to Carolina Forest. Tough to start running back. I think Coach Wilson's bunch is a solid team. Obviously, I think they're clear number 2 in the region behind Carolina Forest, who's kind of the class of that one. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're like a lower state title good probably this year. But they've got some talent for sure. They can win a game or two in the playoffs, feels like.
Got to tighten up a little bit on defense.
Yeah, but thanks everybody for the polls this year. We started earlier this year to increase the chatter and things like that, and get some good talking points. We won't have another poll until
we'll have next week. Going into the playoffs. Come on, Jerel.
Oh, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do a pre-playoff poll.
We got to. Then we'll do one
final regular season poll.
All right. So we'll do one final regular season and then one end of the season. Okay. So
certainly thank our friends at First Team Sports Center for helping us put that together each week. Man, they have been great friends of the program. Also, want to shout out our teams of the week powered by Preferred Home Services. We had Carolina Forest, Southside Christian, and Mid Carolina all with big wins last Friday. Our players of the week, we had Jace Grass at Daniel, Tajay Watson at BHP, and Amadre Wooden at Batesburg Leesville, all insured by the Georgia Agency. Once again, a shout out to our friends at Preferred Home Services and the Georgia Agency for helping us put that together each and every week. Guys, a fantastic week 10 is upon us. It's going to be Halloween night, so we're going to have stuff Thursday and Friday. Could see some spooky games, man. We've already got a ton of heavy hitters, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 3. I mean, just some really big-time ball games. And I got a feeling we're going to have something that we don't expect really kind of shake up everything as well.
I wish nothing bad on any of our teams playing on this weekend, but somebody's going to turn into a pumpkin in some of these games. I just hope it's not many.
Do you think it could get more spooky than week 9 though? I mean, week 9 was nuts. So
that was wild.
Hope so. But yeah, I love seeing it come down to these last, this last week for region championships, playoff seeding, so much to play for. But not just that. Week 10, want to celebrate those teams. Someone like me who didn't play for a prominent program. It's the last time that some of these kids are going to be able to suit up and play high school football with their boys, their brothers, some of their best friends. People are going to be in their wedding, cousins, stuff like that. So let's celebrate those guys as well as they go into their last week of preparation, because they've laid it all on the line. A lot of them for 15 years or so. So it's really cool to see that as well.
Yeah, great point, Jerel. Definitely want to thank those teams that, this is their last time, which, there's not a lot of them. We do a lot of guys who make the playoffs, but there will be some that don't get to move on. I certainly want to shout them out as they head in their last week of the season for sure. But going to be fun. We'll be back next week. Like I said, follow us as always on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. That's MOVINCHAINS. MovinChains.com is our website. Podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. We'll be back next Tuesday, 7:15, with our round 1 and full playoff preview show. Going to be a lot of fun. We'll probably put the brackets on the screen there for a little bit so you guys can go through that. It'll be great to talk about that. This week we'll have our coach interviews, player interviews, teams of the league, players of the league, all kinds of great stuff. Check us out all week long on social media. You see it on the screen there. You're Movin The Chains merch. Info at movinchains.com is the email address. Got some great T-shirts right now, black, navy blue, gray, and pink. Movin The Chains on the front and the back. Some really good hoodies. Have a gray hoodie like this and kind of a lighter white hoodie you can order as well. Some Movin The Chains stickers. Get yours today. Great for your car, your laptop, your Yeti cup, whatever, along with toboggans, gray and black, and then some hats. As you see, the black front one up here, got some gray fronts with the black back or the khaki back. All these are posted on our social media site. You can check them out on there. You can email us, info@movinchains.com, or just DM us on social media to get yours today. Guys, it's crazy that it's already week 10. It's hard to feel like it's really flown by, but we still got another 5 weeks or so to go, man. Going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to get down to Orangeburg here first week of December. But any other thoughts from you guys as we roll into week 10 here?
Hey, that road to Orangeburg is going to be awesome, starting Thursday.
Yeah, my weekly address. If you're listening to us on Tuesday, get out to a game on Thursday or Friday this week. Support those guys, especially. You're going to have some senior nights, things like that. Support the seniors who've laid it on the line. Because once we get through this, there's no guarantees that there's going to be a next week. So it's exciting time. Again, I can't believe 11 weeks of football have flown by this fast, but I'm excited to see what happens this coming week.
Jerel, any other comments from the chat we need to put on the screen before we roll out of here?
No, not right now. But again, as we kind of preview it for next week, we'll go through, make some predictions. We'll go through probably what we predicted preseason, see how wrong we were or how right we were going into that, go through those brackets. So I'm excited about that. But let's decide some region championships and some seeding first this week. Cannot wait. If you guys see us out of the ball game, feel free to say hello. Going to be somewhere Thursday and Friday. Not really sure the schedule yet, but definitely will be out and about across the state. So definitely say hello to us if you see us. We love talking to you guys. Had a great time at Dorman last week, talking to Justin Mathis and Coach Morris, and then Chris Blanton, and talking to Coach Van Horn and Coach Birch and all those guys on both sides. Really fun to catch up with some friends down there over at Dorman. So hopefully see some folks again this Thursday and Friday. Like Jerel always says, too, follow us on YouTube. Really close to 1,000 on YouTube. Love to have you help us keep growing that. But going to be a lot of fun, John. Excited for this. Excited for next week, man. Our playoff preview show is one of the favorite ones that we do. So it's going to be a lot of fun next week to bring that back around. But for Jerel Hendricks and John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Movin The Chains Week 10 preview show, talking all things South Carolina high school football. And we will see you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.